All right, so let's take a look at the build here. So this first step here, you're putting together the cockpit, and you have to be really aware of what you're doing here because it's easy to get these two back pieces mixed up. Also these two bottom pieces as well, but I used the foot pedals here to make sure that I knew that the correct one was in the front. Also, you have to be aware that this piece glues inside of this part here. I think the first time I did it, I glued it behind. So just really look at the pictures and dry fit and make sure you have that correct. They also give you a pilot figure to put in, but I felt that it wasn't very detailed and they only give you one. I felt like you needed at least 2 of the 3 people that could be present in the plane for it to work out okay. So I just left him out. Moving on, steps 2 and 3 can be completed as sub-assemblies, and I believe I didn't even do these until the very end of the build. I had to paint these up the different blue and white colors, and you know, but these are just sub-assemblies, so you don't have to necessarily do them after step 1, and I save these till later. And the front part here, this is all painted yellow. So again, you don't need to put it onto the fuselage before you paint. So that is kind of a nice thing. But you're going to spend a lot of time here on step 4 because step 4 is where pretty much a lot of the things start to happen. You have the machine guns being mounted. You have one that's mounted under here. Then you have the turret machine gun. And this turret is a job in itself. You have to have this all masked up before you can put it in there, and there is a decent amount of masking that needs to be done. I used tape and pretty much just used my hobby knife to create masks for this, but as you'll see later on, there is an amount to be done with that. And then putting the pieces together, if you want this turret to move around, this took me a few tries to get right. There is a place right here that you have to lodge it, and it's hard when you put the 2 pieces together to have them fit correctly, have this piece fit correctly to where it actually turns. But if you're patient enough, you can get it. And then you have this piece here that goes in that also has to be matched up correctly. And yeah, so there was a decent amount to be done there. But once you get past that, you pretty much just some basic stuff here. You're gluing the wings together, putting those onto the fuselage, so nothing crazy there. And then it says here step 6 is where you're starting to put these pieces in. Again, this I would suggest you wait until the end of the build. You can have them up in the up or the down positions, depending on what you choose. And it actually even comes with a stand, so if you wanted to have it flying, you could definitely do that. This piece here is another one that's a little bit tricky. You have to mask it, and also there's a machine gun that you installed here in the previous step, and you have to make sure that lines up correctly and goes through the hole in the back here. And what I did was when I glued the machine gun, I made sure that I dry fitted this so that I knew that the angle would be okay, because I didn't want to like put this in and then dislodge the machine gun, then it gets stuck in there and got all sorts of issues with that. So then step 7 here, a lot of masking on this part. I suggest you mask all this stuff and install it before you do your actual spray painting on here. This piece here needs to be masked. You'll see it as a stripe on there. And then there's just a lot of masking to be done. A lot of this isn't difficult. It's just time consuming. There's a lot of little windows that need to be done here. So I spent a decent amount of time cutting up Tamiya tape to get that correct. And then you get to the painting part here, and basically what they're asking for is the tricolor scheme, and they don't really give you too much direction except dark blue, intermediate blue, yellow, white, and black. So I went online to find out like what some of these colors might have been, and I ended up doing some paint mixing. So I looked up the Tamiya AS20 and what different colors I would have to mix for that. So I just kind of made myself a little chart here. So I did 10 parts XF2, 10 parts of that. XF55, 1 part, mixed it up, and then I just did a 50-50 mix of thinner to paint. So that's how I did the white color on the bottom. Then the medium blue, I kind of came to the AS19 online, and to get this color, XF18, 5 parts, XF2, 4 parts. And then since I used 9 parts total, I did the 9 parts thinner as well when I airbrushed it. And then finally, this navy blue, AS8, I did XF17, 5 parts, XF8, 3 parts, and XF2, 2 parts. So I made my own custom colors, and basically that's what I came up with to do the color scheme. And this is basically what it should look like here. I didn't mask it. I did the white first, and then just getting really close up to it, I just did the line with my airbrush until I was satisfied with it. A lot of this isn't sharp angles. A lot of it is just kind of, what's the right word? It's not like straight. So you do have a little bit of play with the line. So you do that. Then I sprayed the whole top half with the medium blue. Then this top blue color, you're going to be doing, you know, the top of the wings and this top here until about after the ball turret. It kind of curves in like this. So again, just using my just hand-eye coordination, I did this part. I actually did mask this front part here of the tail to make it easier. So I did put a little bit of tape on there, but I'm not even really sure you needed to do that. But I did do that. So what does it look like when you're all done? Well, here's what I came up with. So here's my finished model, and you can see the propeller turns. You got the yellow here, and again, this was all a sub-assembly, the propeller in the front. I just glued this on afterwards, and you can see that tri-color scheme here, the dark blue, medium blue, and the white. I did some weathering with some of this Tamiya stuff, the soot I used. I did a little bit of a chipping effect with a brush and some flat aluminum, I believe. And here's that turret piece. I just kind of want to show you what's involved with the turret, because as you can see, there's a lot that needs to be masked. And this actually turns. I'm not really going to turn it because, well, I got some wires there and I just don't want to risk it right now, especially in front of a camera. And here's the glass here, and you can see that there is a lot of different masking you have to do for that. Even on the top, you see that there's like some small windows on the top. So lots of if you want to learn how to get good at masking windows, this would be a great kit to pick up. This top piece, you could probably use a thin strip of Tamiya tape and then put some of that gel. You could use something like this micro mask, or there's different products. You could probably use that for that piece there. And you might be able to use it for the ball turret, but I pretty much just used tape and put a light over the top and just used my knife to carve it out. I think it turned out pretty well. So let's take a look at the bottom here. So not much interior detail for the wheel wells, just pretty much nothing in there. Not a huge deal, but you know, if you wanted to add something there, you could. And then back here, as you can see, there's some delicate masking involved for that back bottom gun placement there. And then to do the panel lines, I just used the Tamiya panel line accent, and that worked out really well. And I had to mask that little round thing as well. So again, if you want to get good at masking, this is the kit to do it with. For the rigging, what I did was I just took some sprue and I took a lighter and I just stretched it. And then I did the top piece here and I just put some super glue on both ends. And then to make it tight, I took an incense stick, placed the model upside down so that the heat of the stick and the smoke was close to this and just tightened up real good. And then from there, I attached this wire on there using super glue as well, and then attaching down here. And then very delicately with the incense stick, used it more. And I got a good effect here. I have a different angle with the line. I have this angle here, and then the angle changes. So I think that looks pretty realistic. So overall, this is not a kit for an absolute beginner, but I would say that it's a kit that if you're like an intermediate and you're looking to really sharpen your skills on some different things like masking, or, you know, this has the tricolor paint scheme to it, this is a good kit to do that. It's not overly complicated, and as you can see, I think that this kit looks really cool. It's not a kit that everybody builds, so it's pretty unique, and it's, you know, I think it's pretty cool. Some other effects that I did, like with the decals, is I did a little bit of a spray over it with the color to make it look faded in, more like painted in and stuff like that. So you can try some different stuff out with this and come out with something that looks really good. So I'm very happy with it, and I hope you choose to build it and, you know, have a good result like this. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I built this one a while ago, so kind of going by memory, but I wanted to make a build video just in case somebody might be thinking about picking it up or want an idea for a new model build. So I decided to make this video. So until then, keep modeling. I'm Joe, and I'll see you next time.